What is heavyweight calisthenics? Well, it's an excuse for people like me that can't full planche to help us feel better about ourselves. There, I said it! Being real though, the term is often used to describe people who are simply too heavy to realistically achieve the skills at the peak of calisthenics, thinking full planche presses into multis, front lever rows into planche archer push-ups. It's the equivalent to expecting a 70-kilo man to break the deadlift world record. It's just not happening. Now yes, sometimes heavyweight calisthenics can be used as an excuse. Maybe they use it to justify a lack of discipline, programming, consistency. But as a big advocate for bodyweight training, I think there's huge value in establishing language that better sets expectations for people over a certain body weight who want to venture down this path. And I think this really matters. I love this kind of training and I want to see more people doing it. But the best we see on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, they're smaller than average, and it's creating this information gap. I want to do calisthenics, but I'm not built like that. What do I do? And this calisthenics space is saturated with recycled advice from athletes who don't train regular people. Most of the popular content comes from extremely gifted individuals who train themselves, then package what worked for them and sell it to the normies. If you're 20 years old and 65 kilos, you'll probably progress just fine, but the rest of us just paid a premium for tendonitis. What about the 6-foot tall guy who can't depress his scaps? Or what about the 80-kilo guy who can't even lock out his elbows in all his front lever attempts? Those Cali stars don't have time for that. I know because I was also that guy. Just in addition, couldn't full planche either. What worked for me in my 20s became my template. And then I got this special job at a gym teaching handstands, rings, and calisthenics to the general public. And I realized that that template didn't scale. Here's how to front lever became, here's how to set your scaps properly. Here's how to skin the cat became, here's how to get upside down on the rings. People wanted to learn planche without being able to do a full range of motion dip. It humbled me in my approach towards coaching. And after thousands of hours coaching real people, not gifted athletes, I see what the current culture is missing, and that's admission to the park. The real problem is I've seen people say swing to planche is a valid progression, or that the planche press is the best way to build your planche, or that literally the point of a front lever is not to do a simple hold, it is to combine it with pull-ups and presses. And let's be real, most people can't control a swing. Most can't even hold a tuck planche, so forget about pressing. And for many, the front lever is going to be a lifetime achievement. Advice like that comes from people who've only trained themselves or watched or trained other gifted individuals. And it widens the gap between where people are and where they think they need to be. So what is actually realistic here? Well, I ran a poll on my community page asking, is full planche achievable if you train hard enough? And 55% of you said no. And I agree with that. I think there's upper limits. I don't think it's black and white, but once enough of these variables stack up, planche can become very unlikely. If you're over 6 foot, if you're over 80 kilos, if your muscle mass is less than 60% of your total body weight, or if your body fat is more than 15% of your total body weight. And I want to make it clear that this isn't rare. This is almost average. I'm describing an average person here. And these limits don't just apply to planche either. They apply to all body weight skills. But what I'm trying to make clear here is we're not talking about that upper limit being like 8 foot tall and 150 kilos. These are like realistic metrics that most people have. And this is why it's important to scale down our expectations of these calisthenics skills. So where should that line of heavyweight calisthenics start? In another poll, I asked what weight defines heavyweight calisthenics, and most people said over 90 kilos. But I'd argue it starts lower, around 80 kilos. Yes, someone out there at 90 kilos might planche, but we shouldn't build a framework around these genetic freaks. I think calisthenics performance peaks around 60 to 70 kilos. Above that, you can still perform, but the odds steepen. Below 60 kilos, I also think there might be more room for muscle gain. But at 80 kilos, you're well and truly fighting an uphill battle. And that's the point. These skills are so demanding that we need to lower the bar on what to expect and what should be celebrated for most people. We should popularize the advanced tuck planche. We should popularize the tuck press, handstand push-ups, shoulder stands, skin the cats, back levers, ring bent arm strength. These are valid, impressive goals. We need new labels, new benchmarks. So let's normalize heavyweight calisthenics. And it doesn't even have to be that term if it's become taboo. Let me know if you have any suggestions in the comments. Do we like heavyweight calisthenics, or is there another term that fits better? In any case, if you're 80 plus kilos and want a realistic path to bodyweight strength, I've got you. Hit subscribe.